Welcome to the Press Box, a weekly presentation by the Dispatch Argus Sports Department presented by Zeglin's TV and Appliance. I'm sports writer DJ Jarvis, and this is my good friend, sports writer Anthony Sandoval.
That'd be a colleague.
Sorry, are we not friends?
Sometimes.
All right, so before we get down to business, a couple weeks ago we both got pink slipped on the show.
I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, me neither. And I was on last week, but
it's so typical of those guys to call us back in for this. And after they give us
they saw the ratings.
Yeah.
Well, Ness is on vacation right now.
Wasted away again in Margaritaville.
I brought this nice little fishing hat, so maybe he can use this to retire because, you know, he's getting up there a little bit in age. So
you wouldn't know it, though. You look at pictures from 20 years ago, and he looks the same.
He looks younger 20 years ago when he was 50 than we do now.
Yeah, sure.
It's amazing.
And where's Dan Mack? Is he going back to lovely Quincy, Illinois?
I think he's covering a soccer match somewhere, but I'm not really positive.
Respect.
So we got it right last week. We covered a lot of really good football games.
I did,
you covered hockey.
You know what? I was quite jealous. I was at the Mallards, and I missed out on a great Geneseo game. All the other games were excellent, it looked like.
Yeah, I think we covered one game that was more than 2 scores, and that was Quincy UT.
Yep.
We're week 9.
Week 9.
Playoff,
hard to believe.
Yeah, playoff push.
Yep.
According to IHSA, 88 spots remain for the playoffs. Yep. There are 66 5-3 football teams, including 3 in our backyard.
Yep.
Rockridge, Orion, and Kewanee. That brings the question, is the fact that Orion lost their second straight game last week and lost to St. Bede going to really affect them, you think?
That's huge. I think a loss to St. Bede is okay. They're a tremendous football team. The manner in which they lost, though, big loss.
Yeah.
The second straight week they've lost, and it was a big loss. It's going to hurt them, too, as for what you mentioned before we went on the air. That will make them a 5-4 team if they get the win this week, and that will put them at the bottom of numbers.
6-3. 5-4 if they fall to Riverdale.
That'll make them 6-3 and towards the bottom as a playoff team, and they'll be having to face a top tier 2A team.
Right.
So in that aspect, it did really hurt them.
It's amazing how it kind of works out with the projections. Orion at this point would face number 1 ranked Tri-Valley, number 1 seeded Tri-Valley. Who I think I remember covering them last year against Rockridge, and they ran the ball really well in the postseason at Rockridge. Rockridge is one of our 5-3 teams, and if the projection stood true, they would go to Anawan Wethersfield. I know that
that's something I do want to see, and I don't want to see because I want to see our teams get a little bit farther and then meet each other.
Yeah.
But meeting in the first round is a big deal. That's still going to be a huge crowd for how close they are together.
Yes.
But once again, I just want to see those two teams play a little bit farther down the line. That way the stakes are at a little bit higher.
Yeah, you'd mentioned before big LTC stuff going on here with Mercer County needing a win to tie Anawan Wethersfield.
And Anawan Wethersfield plays Biggsville this week, or West Central. My apologies.
It's in Biggsville.
Yeah, West Central this week. You have to think Anawan Wethersfield wins that and takes the conference outright, but I mean, you never know. It's football. It's high school sports. We've seen crazy things before. There's still a chance for a share, and what a job by Andrew Hofer in his first season.
Yeah.
Getting these Golden Warriors, Golden Eagles. I always get that one mixed up. Golden Eagles in a position for a conference championship and a great season under his first season as head coach.
Yeah. One of the other things we were talking about was you had another good conference one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Geneseo. Speak on your huge comeback last week against Canine. I know you weren't there.
It wasn't my comeback. It was Jeremy Linsing was there and did a great job covering them. Man, a big goal line stand late in that game, and pretty much the difference when you look at a 3-point game. That's what they're going to need against Morris this week. Morris runs the football well, just like a bunch of Geneseo opponents have this year. They're a great 5A team, and that's been where Geneseo's lost their games this year, has been against top 10 5A schools. I'm interested to see whether or not they ride the momentum they gained from the Canelan game into this one and pick up a road win they desperately need.
I saw on one of the message boards where the projections were, and somebody said over under 7 total passes in that game.
Yeah.
last week I covered a great game. Allman made a comeback at halftime, ended up beating Moline 35-20. And that's this Allman team. We've talked about this 2 weeks ago when we did the emoji football game. You don't know what, I mean, they've only won 2 games, but I mean, that team's been pretty darn good.
I was a little bit surprised for 2 reasons. Moline, I think, has severely underachieved what they could have been this year. And Allman, that's a big win for them.
Yeah.
I was suspect about their win against UT. I was just like, okay, what is that? We don't know what they are after that. But a win against Moline, who I think is a great team that has underachieved this year, that's a fantastic win to close out the season. And they've got Rich Central this week. That's another winnable game. It could be a nice finish to the season for the Pioneers.
I looked it up of all the teams, the playoff points. I think I only found one, Mater Dei, that had more playoff points than Allman's potential 45. Obviously, they're not going to make the playoffs, but I mean, they have Morrissey in the backfield, and they've got, a lot of young players that can lead them to do something next year.
My Metro question this week is UT. Do they get a win against Rich South? 0-8 Rich South, 0-8 UT. Something's got to give in that one. Who comes away with a win in that one?
I think UT is going to get a win. I got a feeling. Rich South has allowed a ton of points this year, 355 as to scoring just 88. UT's been able to put some points on the board here and there. They've got to know what they want to do. I know Nico Williams was the top receiver in the Big Six, and you got to think all those Rock Island weapons that a UT guy was able to catch the ball for that many yards.
And that'd be a nice building block for Morrissey's first season going into it, to bridge to the second season, have a nice win under his belt. Something we thought might have come a little bit earlier in his first season, but to get it at the end of the season and bridge it into a second might be a big step.
They like Allman, they've had a pretty tough schedule.
Yep.
I think that's it for today. Thanks for joining us today at the Press Box. Next week it'll be start playoff football, and we'll see you next week on the Press Box.